Welcome to Richard and Greg, a channel dedicated to discussion, debate and argument on a whole array of topics. Yesterday morning we published a video entitled Coronavirus Update, It's Spreading. And 2 days prior to that, one entitled Coronavirus Upsetting Global Markets, both of which we highlighted that equities had taken somewhat of a hit and gold and silver prices and other precious metals were rising, a clear sign that markets were becoming worried. Now, this morning on Bloomberg, an article was published highlighting that Chinese businesses could be facing financial Armageddon within the next 6 months. So we thought we would go over to Greg and get an update as to what is happening and whether we are at a pandemic stage as yet or not. So let's go over to Greg. Well, it's currently Sunday, the 23rd of February at 20:08 hours GMT. And I noticed earlier today on Bloomberg an article commenting that the number of small firms particularly, but not exclusively, in China are in a serious state of potential economic devastation, with a number of business owners claiming that they have less than 1 month's money available to pay their staff and to pay their bills. And almost 90% of those interviewed have less than 6 months' money available, all caused due to a mixture of the transference of the coronavirus and what it is doing to their businesses, both in terms of the ability to manufacture, but also the demand. And secondly, the banks punishing them, as they see it, by not lending sufficient money in order to enable them to smooth out this process until the coronavirus has either been contained, controlled, or eradicated. So on that note, I wasn't planning on us doing another video today after we covered the coronavirus yesterday, but the matter is becoming so serious. We thought more than 24 hours has passed. In fact, 36 hours has passed. We thought we would give Greg a call and ask for a brief update. So Greg, just checking, are you on the line, please?
I am indeed. No sunshine now. It's pitch dark out.
Absolutely. Greg, when we spoke yesterday morning, the number of infections stood at 77,924 and the number of deaths 2,362. What's the current state of play? And then give us a sort of synopsis on what is going on and what further developments have occurred since yesterday morning.
Well, the bad news is that in that 36 hours, the figure has gone up to 78,993 admitted recorded cases and 2,470 admitted recorded deaths due to COVID-19, the coronavirus. This is beginning to map out more or less as basically we warned, with the serious or critical cases currently standing at 11,569. That's 22%. So these figures are steadily eating into any concepts of security anyone might have had. We have Japan now standing with 691 recorded cases and 3 deaths. South Korea with 602 recorded cases and 6 deaths. South Korea is up by 166 since the last time we gave you figures. Italy has gone up by 78, giving it 157 recorded cases and 3 deaths so far. That one new death, that is. So it is getting worse and worse. And I misled you somewhat when I said Japan. That's only the Diamond Princess. Japan itself has a further 146 cases and 1 death so far. I can go on through the figures, but the only ones that stand out at the moment are probably Iran which has 43 individual cases recorded and a very disproportionate 8 deaths. When I say disproportionate, that's a much higher rate of morbidity than other countries have been displaying. 8 deaths out of 43 recorded cases. Bit scary. However, I must admit that I am not happy to say that we have been spot on in saying that this is increasingly looking like a pandemic from the first time that we broadcast figures on COVID-19 on this channel. Yet we have individuals like Professor Dr. Ben-Hur Lee, Professor of Microbiology, Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, who has stated the number of reports from multiple different countries in the past 36 hours showing what is most likely community human to human spread of the virus confirms fears that the virus is on its way to causing a pandemic. Or Dr. Michael Ryan on the 17th. He is Executive Director of the World Health Organization, Emergencies Programming. All predictions are important. Most predictions are wrong. And I think we must be careful with that. Well, he's getting paid a very large salary to make the statement that most predictions are wrong. To date, ours have been right. So if he'd like to give me a cut, I'd be glad to hear from him. Professor Mark Lipsitch, Professor of Epidemiology at Harvard School of Public Health, Head of Harvard Center Communicable Disease Dynamics, said on the 14th of February, I think it is likely we will see a global pandemic. If a pandemic happens, 40 to 70% of people worldwide are likely to be infected in the coming year. What proportion is asymptomatic? I can't give a good number. Well, that's somebody else with a very high salary who's not giving good information, just the same sort of outlines that anybody could have given. Dr. Robert Redfield, US Center for Disease Control and Prevention. I think this virus is probably with us beyond this season, beyond this year. And I think eventually the virus will find a foothold and we'll get community-based transmission. And you can start to think about it like seasonal flu. The only difference is we don't understand this virus. So I can go on with these, but I don't think that's wildly helpful. But it's professor after professor, learned individual after learned individual, and stuffed shirt after stuffed shirt. We are not talking here of the pumpers who will always tell you that it's going to be awful, buy gold, and cannot be trusted from the base and from their position of self-interest in the selling of gold. Rather a dangerous source for basing something that could cause the most immense damage to mankind. As Richard has pointed out, in China, there are already people saying that the banks won't back them.
Yeah.
Well, the banks are there to make a profit for themselves, not for the businesses they supply. Banks will only lend you umbrellas if you can be certain that it isn't going to rain in the long term. They are there for their own profit, not to keep their customers in business through a difficult period, other than in instances where they know that there is a finite end to that difficult period. There is no way of knowing that about COVID-19 at this stage of play in this particular game. This is potentially massive. This is potentially able to crash currencies on a global basis. It's potentially able to destroy nations, entire nations' economies. I'm not saying it will. Please don't come back at me in the future. I am saying that it potentially can. This means that if you're going to invest and you have a lot of money and you wish to protect it, do not hold it as currency in anything. Dollars, yens, sterling, or even the already shaky euro. I suggest that commodities are going to be the key, whether that's precious metals, rare and fine stones, or tins of ham. I've no idea which you will wish to invest in, but good luck. It could be a very bumpy ride, and it may not happen.
Well, that's going to be my final question because we're going to keep this relatively short today. How close are we, in your opinion, before we can turn around and say, do you know what? Buy all that gold, buy all that silver, and buy it as quickly as you can.
If you have surplus cash at the moment, buy all that gold, buy all that silver, and buy it as quickly as you can. Because holding it in currency at the moment, you never know. You just need one bad outbreak in America for it to hit the dollar sideways. And if your currency is in dollars, that ain't going to do you a lot of good. This could happen to any currency. So I would say if you want to be on the safe side, convert to commodities as fast as you reasonably can.
Even at their current exalted levels, Greg.
If it gets worse, you still have some money. If it doesn't come to the disaster, yeah, you may lose 10%. You may even lose 20%. But if you hold your money in dollars and it gets worse, you could lose everything.
Greg, pearls of wisdom, thank you very much.
Not my pleasure to bring this bad news. I hope I'm wrong.
We hope you enjoyed that discussion, and if so, kindly subscribe to our channel and press the bell sign so that you are notified of our videos as and when they are published. And also in the description box below, we place links to certain books, articles, and programs which you may find of benefit, and for which we will receive a small commission should you purchase through our link. And this will help support our channel and to enable us to develop it further.